station of decapitation without your head.
We're live here at the station of decapitation without your head. I'm Nasty Neal.
That would make me terrible, Troy.
I'm Treacherous Trista.
And we're joined by the legendary Dee Wallace. She should get a cool nickname too, maybe Dastardly.
I was gonna say.
Oh, I like that.
What did you say?
Dastardly Dee Wallace.
Ah! I was thinking more like Diva Dee Wallace, but that's all right.
Okay, that works too.
I don't want to be a diva. I don't like
the Dastardly Diva, maybe.
Yeah, Dastardly D. I like that.
I'll put that in the banner. Dastardly D.
Okay.
So it's very cool to have you back. It was a few years ago when we had you on, and this year is the 40th anniversary of the Howling.
Yep. Can you believe it?
So, what has the Howling meant to you over the years? You know, you make the movie, and then I don't know, what do you think a lot about the movie? Years after that, or until like you start doing conventions again?
Well, a lot of movies you just do and you forget about, and they go by the wayside. And then there's a few movies that just become a part of your life, and they're with you forever. And The Howling definitely falls into that one. I do so many interviews and talk to so many fans about The Howling. It's just, it's a film that's lasted forever. It's just became an instant cult classic. So go figure, you never know.
Right. Do you have any do you think there's a reason why? Because a lot of movies come and go, but then some movies stay with people forever.
Well, I think it's a good movie, first of all. And it was a really interesting take, new take, innovative take on the werewolf story. The special effects were phenomenal. And it's just such a well-directed, fun movie because of Joe Dante. I mean, I can't imagine that film now being directed by anybody else. He brought in so much of his humor, all the commercials and everything, and the old film clips in it. Joe paid for himself because the studio wouldn't ante up the money for him. And all of the inside nods, all the characters are named after old werewolf characters from the old movies that the fans, anybody that's a true fan of the werewolf movies would know. So and the performances weren't bad. And I think you put all that together, you've got a movie that just stands the test of time.
It's interesting that year, American Werewolf in London also came out, and Wolfen, and all three of them are, especially American Werewolf London and Howling. But was there any concern, at the time, like, are there too many werewolf movies coming out this one year?
Yeah, we knew we had the best one. Well, I still think we have the best one, by the way.
Were you asked to do the sequel?
No. Or none of how many are there now? 6?
6, I think, yeah.
Yeah, no.
Do you have any opinions on them? No?
No. That's
totally fine, yeah.
I think the original is, I think most of the rest of them got a little more graphic into the sexuality and everything that I would have ever chosen to do. So,
are you? I don't assume that you're a horror fan for whatever reason, but are you a horror movie fan?
Well, sure, but I'm the perfect audience. I sit there like this the whole time. I'm very wussy, and I have been ever since I was a little girl. I remember my big brother babysitting me one night, and my mother said, no scary movies. So, of course, he put on The Bride of Frankenstein. Well, I didn't sleep for weeks, and my mom made him let me sleep with him every night to pay for me getting scared to death. So I've always been that way. I think maybe that's why that fear and vulnerability,
Really comes through in your performances.
well, yeah, I think it serves my performances. That's what I was going to say.
Is that ever hard to do, especially if you do take after take, like in Cujo or something, to be at that high level of emotion?
Of course. Of course it's hard, but that's my job, Cujo, however, just about killed me. I mean, they treated me for exhaustion for weeks after I finished that film. And what most people don't realize is that your body and your brain, they don't register that you're acting. You go through the same chemical fight or flight that you would in real life. So for 8 weeks, my brain thought I was running from danger. And it takes a lot out of you. It does.
I've been listening to audiobooks of the classic King movies over this last year because it's a weird time this last year. And I recently listened to Cujo. Were they ever going to use the original ending from the book? Is a much darker ending.
I'm ashamed to say I don't know what that ending is.
Oh, and the ending of the book, not to spoil the book for people who haven't read the book, but the child dies at the end. It's a much darker.
Oh, that's Cujo.
That's what I meant. I'm
oh,
sorry.
You said the Howling.
I'm sorry. I meant Cujo. Yes.
There was discussion about it. All of us discussed it. And I was adamant that we did not kill the child at the end. And our producer, Dan Blatt, and our director, Louis Teague, were in agreement. I think I probably swayed them all the way over. And then they called Stephen King, and Stephen said, oh my God, please don't kill the kid at the end. He said he never got more hate mail in his career than when he killed the kid at the end of Cujo. And my point was, though, probably 3/4 of the people in the 80s that were going to come see the film wouldn't have read the book anyway.
Right. And
you can't ask, certainly not back then, and I don't think even now, to go through 2 hours of what we put them through with no pay at the end. Mm-hmm. It just didn't feel right to me at all. So I'm really glad we made that choice.
Yeah, I think I agree. Trista, do you have a question?
You've had such an illustrious career. Do you have any advice for someone who might aspire to a similar career?
Yes, be yourself. I taught acting out here for 18 years, and everybody, whether they came from NYU or just arrived from Podunk, Iowa, thought you were supposed to be somebody else and fit into what they wanted or what they were looking for. And what they're looking for is you. And how you bring your special spin to the role. The second piece of advice I would give everybody is if you don't love it, don't get in it. And if you stop loving it, get out of it. Because life's too long. You just gotta love what you do. And I think that shows on film.
Have you always loved it? Was there ever a time that you fell out of love with acting?
Oh, sure. Well, let me rephrase that. I never fell out of love with acting. I certainly fell out of love with the business. And that's the challenge for actors, because we're creative beings and you want to live in that creative space. And then you have to flip over to the other side of your brain and do business deals and negotiations and all that crap that really creative people don't really want to do. So sometimes the business, sometimes even now, the business part of it gets to me. It's very hard to continue to distinguish that it's not personal. Their job is to make the best deal they can. Your job or your rep's job is to make the best deal they can. And sometimes it feels really personal. And it's just not. It's just business.
That's something Trista mentions sometimes on interviews, about not to take things personally.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't serve you. And, sometimes by the time you actually sign the contract, if you haven't let that go, you kind of are at the point where you wonder whether you want to do the film anyway. And so, it's a dangerous place to let yourself focus on. If you can just stay focused on the work and the joy of doing your job and being able to truthfully bring that character alive, that's the joy for me.
You said when you taught acting for a while. Is that something you would also tell your students? Not just the actual craft of acting, but what to be in store for business-wise?
Oh, absolutely. I taught the entire business of acting. And I also brought in, I'm a clairaudient channel. So I would bring in a lot of my healing work and pick up subconscious stuff that was going on with them. We did it all in my acting studio. It was kind of like Camelot, really. And you can ask a lot of my students, they'll tell you the same thing. It was, if I had 6 auditors, 3 of them would go, "Oh my God, Dee, I have to study with you. What do I have to do to study?" And the other 3 would go, "Hey, it was really great, bye." Because it was definitely not your typical acting studio. Mm-hmm. Let's face it, you can be the most brilliant actor in the world, but if you're letting all your crap and all your stories get in the way, if you don't think you're worthy to succeed, if you've got stuff you've been taught like I did about making money or making too much money or making money doing what you love, oh my God, because most of us, let's face it, had parents that made money in jobs they hated. So we learned that it wasn't okay to make money doing what you really loved. And all those subconscious beliefs just put blocks in your way about making it.
Over the years, how is as far as money goes, the rise of streaming sites and kind of the loss of physical media, how has that affected your life as an actor?
Well, I have a lot of different thoughts on that, but the main ones are, I think it's given actors a lot more opportunity to act and in a lot shittier projects. This low budget stuff that SAG allows everybody to do now, I'm not a big fan of them. Every once in a while, you have very talented people that really know how to do brilliant things with the low budget that they have. But I think most of the time, a lot of young actors are just trying to get a credit, you know, just trying to get started, just trying to get some film. I think you're better off really creating scenes on your own and hiring some people to come in and film them for you.
So along those lines, though, what goes into your thought process when you take a role? What are you looking for? If it's a low budget movie.
I'm looking for a good script. I'm looking for some history with the director and producers. So I know that they know what they're doing. And I'm looking for a character that I really relate to. If I read a script and the character takes me over, I kind of have to do it.
I know a few years ago, Red Christmas came out. You know, it's a small budget movie, but I'm a big fan of it. And whenever Christmas comes around, I always suggest it as kind of an underrated Christmas horror movie.
I think it's underrated because it's not known.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
You know, people just don't know about it. But that was a perfect example of people who were incredibly talented and knew what they were doing on a very fixed budget.
Yeah, I love that movie. And so was that a character that you just, how did you get involved in that? Did you know the director, or was it the character?
Well, it's truly a Hollywood story. The director had a friend who was in my acting class that I was taking at the time, just to work out. And he said, "Oh my God, could you get this?" Because it's hard to get past agents if you're not ready to make the deal and you don't know what the deal is they'll accept, you know, blah, 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 blah. So he asked me and I said, absolutely, send it over. And I read it and I loved it. I thought it was very innovative and different and gave me a lot of opportunities to chew the scenery emotionally, which is what I really like to do. I like all the emotional work. And so we hooked up. The only comment I had was that there was a child in it in the beginning, and he got murdered pretty close to the beginning of the film. I said, I don't think that's going to fly. You don't kill kids and dogs. You just don't. You know, any other humans go for it, but kids and dogs, there's kind of an unwritten rule, you know?
Well, I understand kids, but why do you, well, I understand both, but why do you think it is like even horror fans who have no problem watching, you know, people getting slaughtered if there's an animal killed in a film? Not like really, but in the movie, you know.
Well, because animals are innocent. Children are innocent. Mm-hmm. Adults aren't. You know, we've all got our crap and our baggage, but to hurt something that is innocent and has no aggression or hate in them, it's just, I mean, I saw in the newsfeed today, this sheriff was so distraught because he found a dog at the side of the road that somebody had put a bullet in the side of his head. He was still alive, but they left him. I mean, what the hell is wrong with us? I don't get it. I just don't get where all this hate is coming from and the racism, and I don't know. You know, if you want to play that out in your life, do more movies, but don't do it in real life. It's just not okay with with my sensibilities. I don't like it. I think we should just be able to look at each other and go, hey, dude, you don't think or dress or look like me or politically believe what I believe. So I don't need to participate in my life with you, but I bless you and let you live your life the way you want to live it. Just don't hurt somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so easy. I don't get it.
This is Ari Mihailoff, Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, and you're watching Without Your Head. And you will be watching Without Your Head if you don't watch Without Your Head.
Well, welcome to the station of decapitation without your head. I'm Nasty Neal.
I'm Treacherous Trista.
And joining us once again here for part 2 is dastardly Dee Wallace.
That's my new nickname, eh?
Exactly. We appreciate you doing this again.
Yeah, well, deja vu. Does everybody know what happened?
No, I don't think so. If you want to let them know or make up a better story.
Why I'm in a different why we're all in different outfits is that we had almost finished the last interview, and the tree trimmers that were here dropped a big old log on all the wires and cut the internet and cut everything. We couldn't finish it. So so this is just proof that we can all look great on 2 days.
Exactly. A little secret, a couple times when Trista and I will record 2 interviews on the same day, we usually switch shirts in between. So it looks like they've done it.
Yeah, know that trick well.
Oh, Troy is here with us now as well, the terrible one.
Hi, Troy. Here
Troy
we are
actually
again.
predicted last week, the week before. He said, "I hope it wasn't the neighbors cutting down the trees." I'm not kidding.
You were right on.
You had that portent early when you were talking about it, and I was like, oh man, I just had that vision of it.
Yep, that's exactly what happened. They cut a big log and it dropped and
Oh no.
brought down both wires.
Oh,
Yeah,
nothing
my
else, so
neighbor-
it didn't hit the house or anything.
No, no.
All
it
right,
didn't
good,
come
good.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
I
Yeah.
saw on your social media, on your Facebook page, that you're going to be part of the Hollywood Museum Squares.
Yes,
Part of it, maybe.
it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
What is? I guess it's like Hollywood Squares, but is that the Hollywood Museum or?
Well, it's the Hollywood Museum's rendition of a Zoom
Oh, Zoom. They did. Okay.
Oh, good. That'll be fun.
of Hollywood Squares. Yeah.
I guess
but-
you can't spoil if you want or not. I guess you don't win. You'd be were you center square?
No,
No.
I had to think for a minute. No,
Uh,
was not the center square. And give me a script and let me get into a part and I'm great, but all those funny, and of course I'm on with all these comedians, right?
oh.
A little out of my element, but it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah.
I tried to be cute and darling anyway, so.
Oh yeah, I'm sure you did a good job.
Yeah.
You have that nailed, the cute and charming part.
Hey, you probably beat out Gilbert Gottfried on that one, I think.
He's a sweetie, Gilbert.
Was he there at this thing?
No,
Oh,
I
okay.
don't. No, not in the one I did.
Yeah.
So I didn't get to ask last time. I want to ask was about Rob Zombie, and was it Lords of Salem the first time you worked with Rob Zombie?
God, let me think. I've done 4 things with Rob now.
So might have been
I
missing.
think there was something before Lords of Salem. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I remember Lords of Salem because it's kind of a polarizing movie, but it's actually one of my favorite Rob Zombie movies. And
Yeah.
I love the 3 witches, you and Meg Foster and Patricia Quinn.
Thank you. Yeah. We had a lot of fun. A lot of fun doing it. But you always have fun when you work with Rob. You know, he's just low key, kind of lets you go wherever you want to go. I mean, we do it around a script, and then he says, all right, everybody bring in your own shit. And then we just have fun, and it's so freeing for an actor to be given the permission, I guess, to do that.
Had you worked with Patricia Quinn or Meg Foster before that?
Oh, I've worked with Maggie, sure. She and I are friends, but I'd never worked with Patricia, no.
I know part of the movie was filmed in Salem. Were any of your parts filmed in Salem?
No, I didn't go to Salem.
I've been there because I'm in Massachusetts, and we actually found some of the locations that the movie was filmed at.
Oh, yeah. I think of the witches, Meg was the only one that went.
Yeah. And how about working with Sherri Moon? Sherri Moon's on.
Oh, she is just the sweetest person. She and I had a great time working together, you know, and as a couple, she brings him his health food shake and his vitamins every morning on the set. It's so cute. So cute. They just are so deeply in love after all this time. And it's just really, really lovely. I love both of them.
And she plays a much different character in Three from Hell.
Yeah.
And so do you, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that Three from Hell is when I got to do most of my work with Sherri. Yeah. A lot of people don't even know that's me.
Yeah, it's true. It's such a different character for you.
Yeah.
I would take that as a compliment.
Absolutely. There was a critic that called Rob and said, I'm reviewing the film and I really love it, but did you cut Dee Wallace? Because her name's in here, but I don't see her in the movie. And Rob said he wrote back, oh, she's in there. Look again, you'll find her. And I thought that's a great compliment. Because when he sent me the script, I wrote him back and I went, Rob, I want to do this character, but I can't do her looking like me. I got to dye my hair. Can I have some glasses? I don't want to wear any makeup at all, except, you know, darkening under my eyes or something. I want to look like shit. And he wrote back and he said, okay. Okay, that was his response. And we came up with a great look for her. Mm-hmm. Uglier than hell, but it suited her.
Yeah, it suits movie Three from Hell. Yeah. Now I know it's Sid Haig's last role. Did you know him very well from the conventions or anything?
Oh yeah, Sid and I were good friends. Big loss to the industry.
Yeah. Yeah, and a big part of Without Your Head, he was our first guest on the show and helped me out.
Really?
Yeah.
And such a smart man.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I remember that I was terrified. I didn't know what to expect. And I was just like, oh no. And he was the nicest guy.
Oh, he's a sweetheart. Yeah. Just a sweetheart. And I know they didn't want to put it out a lot. I wanted to go see him in the hospital, but they weren't allowing anybody in. And, you know, they kept putting out, he's okay, he'll be home. But the inside knowing was that he was really not going to recover from this. So
yeah.
Big loss for all of us.
He was doing conventions right up till he really couldn't. And I think it was as he liked to meet the fans. You could tell whenever you're around him.
Loved to meet the fans, would hang out in the bars after the convention and talk to everybody and schmooze. And yeah, I get finished with the day and I go, I'm going to my room. I'm having a glass of wine and dinner and crashing. I mean, it's, if you do it right, it takes a lot of energy to do the cons. If you really connect with people and talk and schmooze. I love doing them because I love meeting the fans.
Yeah. And you'll be going back to the conventions here coming up soon.
Next week.
Oh, very soon.
To Vegas to do Days of the Dead.
Very good.
Yep.
That'll be fun. Trista, do you have a question?
I do. You've played so many characters and a wide range of characters. I'm wondering if there's any sort of characters that you have an itch to play that you haven't been able to yet.
That's a great question. I have always wanted to play a tormented nun. And
Wow.
I just got an offer
Really? That's a very
for a
specific.
movie
No, yeah, that's really a specific thing.
where I play a tormented nun.
Congratulations.
Yeah, that's
good
excellent.
creating, huh?
Yeah, you manifested this.
Yep.
I did. For sure.
Well, that's very
So-
good. And we're all looking forward to seeing that eventually.
Well, I've got, I think, 4 movies coming out, or maybe they've gotten distribution and you can find them online. I don't know. Now that everything's opening back up and things are being bought and sold again, I have to track all of them down. 13 Fanboy has a lot of hype behind it on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's some really interesting work in it from a lot of people. So I'm anxious to see that.
When you were first approached to that, what did you think? Because, it is what's considered a fan film, but it's got like a budget behind it and a lot of people in it. It's different than what we used to think of as a fan film.
Well, I read the script and I went, I can't believe that somebody hasn't come up with this idea before. That the actual actors that are playing the roles are being stalked. And, I just thought it was an idea who was way overdue in the horror genre. So I think it's going to be really good, but, I haven't seen it.
Right.
So,
And you said about buzz. I mean, that's really a movie that's word of mouth on the internet. People talking about and sharing it, and it's really help. That's where all the buzzes come from.
well, and Deborah Voorhees directed it, and I just adore her.
Mhm.
Just love her. Sweet, sweet lady, knows what she's doing. Great to work with. It was a really nice experience for me.
Was she somebody that you met at the conventions? Or how did you get to know Deborah?
Deborah, no, I didn't really meet her. Where did I meet her the first time? But she also had a real connection with my agent. They're good friends. And so that's really how she got a hold of me this time.
Oh, very cool. And we didn't talk about last time too much, but could you tell everyone about your website, imdwallace.com, and what can people expect when they go there?
Well, not the horror movies.
Right.
My whole website is dedicated to the other side of Dee, which is all my healing work. I'm a clairaudient channel. And I do webinars. I have a talk show every Sunday where people can call in for free and ask any questions about any blocks they have, why they can't create something that they're trying to create. Do private sessions all over the world now. And that's imdwallace.com. You'll find out a whole other side of Dee Wallace.
It's very interesting. Does that happen a lot though? Someone will know you from movies and then they'll go to your website and see this different side of you. And is there ever the other reverse of that? People who know you from the website and then go and watch your movies? And they maybe.
No, I think everybody knows me from my movies first. And then they, and the press always tries to get me. How can you be a healer when you do all these horror films? I said, look, guys, not so far apart as you may seem. I spend half my life doing films about fear, and the other half of my life teaching people how to heal themselves from fear. So the two worlds kind of coincide and overlap, really.
Mm-hmm. Last time when we talked about a lot of your roles, you play someone, you get sympathy. You can see this, you get sympathy watching. So what was it like playing the villain in the Rob Zombie movies?
Oh, I loved it. I really like playing all those characters and colors that I find within myself. The Frighteners was a really interesting movie for me too, because the first part of it, I played this simpy little victim who then morphs back into who she used to be, which is this vicious killer. So I have a lot of fun as an actor playing all the different kinds of emotional things that are within all of us, right?
Mm-hmm. A lot of people, I'm just reading the chat room, a lot of people are saying they're glad to see you here, and we'll get to a few of the questions here in a minute. Do you have a question, Trista?
Yes, I'm a huge Howling fan, so I have to ask what it was like working with Joe Dante.
With whom?
Joe Dante.
Oh, Joe Dante. Oh, well, Joe and I are good friends. And look, to work with Joe is to go to work and never know what to expect, except a lot of fun. He knows exactly what he wants. And like, I don't know if I told you this the last time, all of the cartoons and all of the old clips and everything, Joe paid for himself because the studio wouldn't cough up the money. And it really elevates the film. And to watch he and Rob Bottin work together was pretty amazing. I adore Joe. I know it sounds like I adore everybody, but not so much. But people were talking about, yeah.
Nicholas just mentions he loves your hair and your Southern accent in 3 from Hell, which we talked about a few minutes ago.
Oh, yeah, thank you. I mean, I just couldn't see the prison guard looking like this, right? With the little blonde hair and all that. So I love that Rob trusts me enough as an artist to hear my concept and then run with it. He did the same thing in Lords of Salem too. He's a real actor's director.
Madeline Deering wants to know, what was Jill Sholin like to work with on Popcorn?
Well, that was one hell of a long time ago. But I remember Jill as being very sweet. I don't think I actually had tons of work with her, but Jill and I communicate, even now via email and stuff. Let me tell you, Popcorn was a freaking nightmare to shoot. They took us to Jamaica, and the theater where most everything happens was an old abandoned theater that a lot of homeless people lived in. So you walked in and were knocked over by the smell of urine, first of all. And I think twice they lost their financing. We didn't know if we were going to finish the film. If I remember this correctly, it was twice. But again, working with the other actors was awesome, except I got there to do the scene where I'm in that full body cast. And they went, okay, Dee, well, we are going to have to wrap you. So do you want to, can you stand up for that? I went, okay, let's think this through. How am I going to pee? Oh, yeah. I said, guys, I got to get a way to get out of this. First of all, I'm claustrophobic. Second of all, we're going to be shooting all day in this. You know, they just hadn't thought it through. So they made it, and they made it with hinges so I could get out of it, and then everything was great. But we lost a little time that day because no way could I have stayed in that thing for 12 hours.
Yeah.
You know?
Had anything like that ever come up before or since about being claustrophobic and being, you know, inside if you're filming somewhere in a small area?
You know, I was never claustrophobic until I did the film in Poland that I did with my husband. And a couple of scenes they filmed way down in the salt mines.
Mm-hmm.
So there were about 15 of us, and they said, okay, well, we're going to take you down in the elevator. Well, the elevator was made out of wood. It was an open air shaft, like you would load goods down in, not people. And somebody's doing this, right?
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. And so we get about halfway down, and all of a sudden the thing goes, whoop! And all the lights go out. I'm the only one that speaks English. Everybody is yelling in Polish. And this went on for like what seemed to me like 20 minutes or a half hour. By the time I got to the bottom, I was freaking hysterical. And Christopher, my husband, was already down there shooting. And they went to get him, and they said, we don't know what to do with Dee. She's like hysterical. And they told him what happened. And he went, oh, shit, man. She got really bad claustrophobia. So he came up and he said, Dee, Pupper. He was calling Pupper. And I was screaming and crying, and he just hauled off and walked me across the fence.
Wow.
And I looked at him and I went, well, that's the fucking last time you'll ever do that, dude. But it brought me out of it, didn't it? Oh my God, just to think of that makes me a little right now. That was pretty crazy. The whole shoot was pretty crazy.
Had you any injuries in any of the movies?
Oh, please. Everything I've done.
Fair enough.
I mean, I have done most of my stunts I flew in the Frighteners. When I broke the window in Cujo, I wasn't supposed to be able to break the window. So I slipped my arm. I had so many injuries on Cujo anyway, bumps and bruises, and it just comes with the territory when you're doing that kind of film. But I think I think it's the emotional bruises and bumps that in most of my films are the hardest. Takes a while to bring yourself out of it and get back to balanced place,
Is there anything you do to get into that? Not necessarily get into that role, but to prepare for that.
I have a very specific technique that I use. It's much different than a lot of actors. Charles Conrad was my mentor, and he taught us, it's kind of loosely based on Meisner, but not really. I know the way Charles taught it. And you get your energy sky high, and what Charles called, you throw your energy toward the person or the scene you're working with. Most actors hold their energy back here and kind of watch what they're doing. They pull out from the back. And what that does really is it allows you to open a channel. So when I became a channeler, I went, oh my God, I've done this in my acting my whole career. Who knew? But I mean, things in class would happen, like we weren't allowed to ever do a piece of material that we had seen or that we had done before. And I was, I don't know, a half a page into this scene that I was doing in class, and Charles said, Deanna, Dee Wallace. And you knew when he used your whole name, you were LOL. So I said, Charles, what? He said, you know you're not supposed to do a scene that you've ever done before you've seen. I said, Charles, I swear to you, I don't know what this is from. I've never seen it before. He said, then why are you limping? Because she's crippled. And stuff would happen in acting class like that every week, because we were just bringing in information. And that's kind of how I work. I don't break anything down. I don't look for beats. I don't think, what are other people saying about me? If I can just stand there and let her take me over, I'm home free. It's kind of magical, actually.
Mm-hmm. Is there, I would assume sometimes that's easier, or not maybe easier, but sometimes that would happen quicker than others. What do you do if you just can't, find that character?
I don't find the character finds me. And it always happens. It's just always, if I get out of the way, Three from Hell, the scene in Three from Hell, when I go in, we've kind of thrown baby to the wolves, and we think these two other guards are going to rip her to pieces. And I come back in to see their handiwork. And of course, she has killed both of them. And they brought me in at the last moment to pick that scene up. And so they threw me in makeup, and I walked on, and Rob said, okay, well, we're adding this. And he does this a lot. I love this about him. He sees what he's got, and then he goes, oh, I need to extend that a little bit, right? And he said, so it's a continuation of this, and you come in and she's killed everybody. All right, are we ready? And went, wait a minute. Just give me a minute, right? Because I didn't even know what scene I was doing. And I stood there, and I took a couple of deep breaths, and all of a sudden, that character just took me over, and it went the opposite way of where, if I had tried to figure it out and break it down, because your mental mind goes, oh my God, you're horrified, and what are you going to do? Oh, no. Where she took me was, you fucking bitch. Oh, would I like to screw you right now? I mean, it was the craziest moment that happened. And I hear cut, and Rob goes, Jesus Christ, where does this shit come from? But it's so much fun to literally have those moments happen to you while the camera's rolling, you know? In Halloween's the first thing I did with Rob.
Okay.
When he'd say, okay, everybody just bring in your best stuff, whatever you want to do. It was unbelievable. I mean, that whole thing about fucking the bagel, that was all improv. Scout said something, and then I don't know, we just ran with everything. It was crazy. And let me tell you, I have never, ever in all my films combined had as much blood on me as I did. And they took a bug sprayer and went like this all over me. That's crazy.
I love it. Trista, do you have another question?
I do. Your technique is so interesting to me, and it's not one I'm familiar with. You mentioned taking a few deep breaths. I'm wondering if breath work is a part of accessing that channel where you get inspiration from.
I think breath work opens up your channel, whether you're channeling as a healer or your channel as a person when you meditate. You know, breath work is kind of a standard in most practices. And now that I'm studying brain science a lot, I have the information that when you do deep breathing like that, it literally opens up your vagus nerve. Your vagus nerve extends all the way down to your back, and it communicates then with all your organs and tissues and stuff. So why that's important in creating your life, you have to try and follow my brain here. Now I'm over into the healing world. Why that's important is that every thought and feeling you have has an electrical charge that goes out into the universe, and the universe matches it and sends it back to you as a reality. So it's really important to send those messages down your vagus nerve to flood your organs and everything so that you can send the positive, powerful frequencies out into the universe. Did I answer your question?
Yes, you and more than that. You're so interesting. I could listen to you talk for so long. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Jennifer and Missy in the chat room say that they love your scenes with Sherri, and they're both fans of Sherri. And
yeah, me too.
Missy also wants to know, what was it like? Any stories work on Critters, and also revisiting the Critters world when you did one of the later sequels?
Well, of course, I have a lot of stories from Critters, but mostly a lot of the critters weren't finished. Like the big critter in our movie, you only see the eyes come up in the window because they really hadn't finished them. Boy, when they finished them, were they magnificent too. But my fondest memory of doing Critters is we'd be in all these highly emotional scenes, and then we'd hear somebody go, okay, roll them in. Everybody's standing off to the side, rolling the things across camera, right? It was pretty crazy. And when they called me to do Critters Attack, my first question to them was, are you doing it with the puppets, or are you doing it with CGI? Because if they were doing it with CGI, I wouldn't have done it. I just think the fans want the real stuff.
I agree.
You know? And so I read the script. Unfortunately, two of the really great scenes that I loved, by the time I got down there, they couldn't shoot because of time and money and all kinds of different things. But I'm just saying, if you have a chance to do a film and you like the film and it shoots in Cape Town, South Africa, it's a no-brainer. You go. You know, Cape Town, one of the most beautiful places I've ever been.
When you're on location for a movie, do you get a chance to see the area, or is it mostly you're just there?
Depends on the movie. Depends on the movie and how much time you have off. But yeah, usually you get to see some of it. They brought me down early so I could get over, because it's a really long trip, and you get hit pretty hard with jet lag. And I had a wonderful, wonderful guy. We're still friends. We email and text a lot. Who my handler, I guess, who took care of me, and just such a sweet guy. And we would often go to dinner together. And he took me on this beautiful drive where it looked like hundreds of people were out parasailing and floating, and and the restaurants in Cape Town are to die for. So and we just had a lot of fun, you know, a lot of good actors. And if you haven't seen Critters Attack, go to Sci-Fi and check it out. It's a fun little visit back to the, you know, Critters anthology.
Mm-hmm. Well, we appreciate you coming back and doing this.
You bet, guys.
And we look forward to you as a nun and all your future projects.
Yeah, thank you. And everybody look out for a movie called The Knicks that I just did. Anthony Ferrante directed it, who did all the Sharknadoes. He's a buddy of mine.
He's been on the show, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's pretty out there. I think it was the hardest character I've played since Cujo.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Yeah, pretty out there. So I have no idea, you know, we literally just finished it. So, but
Look forward to that then.
Yeah.
you can put it in your pipeline anyway.
Yeah, definitely. And if you're out on the West Coast, you can make it to Vegas next week. You can see Dee at Days of the Dead.
Woohoo! Yeah, we got to get those conventions back on, guys.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
It's been a long dry spell
I agree.
Miss them.
from seeing my fans. I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I get my second vaccination next week. So
Good for you.
Mhm.
You are promoting that to all your listeners, I'm hoping.
Yep. Troy already has his second.
Yep. I'm all set.
Got her Band-Aid.
Yep.
Right?
Get vaccinated, guys. I know from the channel, and I know from studying, my brother was very connected to the CDC when he was alive. And go get vaccinated. Help us all out.
Yep.
Thanks.
Yeah, help us get back to normal.
You bet.
We really appreciate this.
Thank you.
Yeah, Dee, thank you so much.
Thanks for your understanding, guys. I'm so happy we got the last part of it done.
Yeah, yep.
It's
And
great.
now you know why we're all in different outfits.
Right. We're going to start doing that for all the shows. We're going to go to break and then we'll
Yeah.
Show up.
wardrobe.
Well, that's what they do at the Oscars and everything. Everybody goes back and puts on a new freaking dress. So anyway, everybody have a great night.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
See
Steve.
you soon, guys.
Glad everyone made it here too, Trista and Troy. And thank you.
Yes, good to see everybody.
We'll be back next week. All right.
Yep,
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.